Hello everyone, I am Shivani and welcome to Vakilaw, Know the Law. So we are discussing about the subject of the Right to Information Act of 2005. In my previous sessions, I have discussed about a global history as well as I have discussed about Indian history and Indian scenario for the Right to Information Act of 2005, and I have also discussed about the relation between the Right to Information Act and the Indian Constitution. I have shared a playlist which contains the videos on these two sessions. Do watch them. I have shared them in the description box below. So in today's session, we will be discussing about the objectives of the Right to Information Act of 2005, and I will also be citing the salient features of the Right to Information Act of 2005. So let's get started. So let's begin with the objectives of the Right to Information Act of 2005. So the first objective is empowerment of citizens. It provides confidence and mainly empowers the citizens when they are accessible to right to information of the activities of the government. The second objective is promotion of transparency and accountability of the public authorities who work in the government. So as I have stated earlier in my previous session, Right to Information aims for promotion of transparency in the activities and also makes the public authorities who work in the government accountable for its activities to the public. The third objective is to control corruption. So as I said, Right to Information creates transparency and accountability for government officials, which helps contain and control corruption as they are answerable to the public for the activities they perform as their government duty. Next is strong democracy. So the right to information for the citizens certainly will help for building a strong and efficient democracy. Next is an informed citizenry. So the main or prime motto of Right to Information is that it aims in creation of a well-informed citizenry, and well-informed citizenry certainly spurs efficient working and smooth functioning along with good coordination and bond between the government and its citizens. The next objective is government accountability. So transparency and accountability are the main or key factors for right to information. This act thus makes the government accountable for all its activities towards its citizens. So now let us focus on the salient features of the Right to Information Act of 2005. So this can be asked for a long question. When I was studying LLB, I had a long question for 20 marks. So for your university, whatever the proportion of marks is allotted for your long question, this question will be a part of that question. So may it be for 16 marks or for 20 marks. So you need to write your answers according to the proportion of marks that have been assigned for that question. So now let's discuss about the salient features of the Right to Information Act of 2005. So the first feature is the title of the act. So the title of the act reads as the Right to Information Act 2005. The second feature is the Honorable Lok Sabha passed the RTI bill on the 11th day of May 2005. Later, on the very next day, that is on the 12th day of May 2005, this bill was passed by the Honorable Rajya Sabha. On the 20th day of June 2005, it received the assent of the Honorable President of India. So the Right to Information Act of 2005 extends to the whole of India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So the preamble of the Right to Information Act of 2005 states that this act was passed because democracy requires an informed citizenry and transparency of information which are vital to its functioning, and also to contain corruption and to hold governments and their instrumentalities accountable to the governed. So this is what the preamble to the Right to Information Act states clearly. Now next, moving towards the technical sections of the Act. So basically Section 2J of the Right to Information Act of 2005 defines the term right to information as follows. So the right to information means the right to information accessible under the Act, which is held by or under the control of any public authority and includes the right to inspection of work, documents, records, taking notes, extracts or certified copies of documents or records, taking certified samples of material, obtaining information in the form of diskettes, floppies, tapes, videocassettes or in any other electronic mode or through printouts where such information is stored in a computer or in any other device. Next, the Act defines the term information under Section 2F of the Right to Information Act. So it defines information as any material in any form, including records, documents, memos, emails, opinions, advices, press releases, circulars, orders, logbooks, contracts, reports, papers, samples, models, data material held in any electronic form and information relating to any private body which can be assessed by a public authority under any other law for the time being in force. The Honorable Supreme Court of India has held that right to information was included with the right to freedom of speech, which has been guaranteed under Article 19(1)(a) of the Indian Constitution. And since this right is guaranteed only to the citizens of India, most of the state laws on the right to information have been provided for the citizens alone to be entitled to seek information. Thus, the Right to Information Act of 2005 restricts it to the citizens of India. Here, it is also important to note that the applicant seeking information does not have to give any reason why he or she needs such information except such details as may be necessary for contacting such person. Thus, there is no requirement of locus standi for seeking information. So, the Right to Information Act of 2005 under Section 2H provides definition of public authority. It thus reads, public authority means any authority or body or institution of self-government established or constituted by or under the Constitution, by any other law made by the Parliament, by any other law made by state legislature, by notification issued or order made by the appropriate government, and includes any body owned, controlled or substantially financed, non-government organization substantially financed, directly or indirectly by funds provided by the appropriate government. So the next feature is that Section 2I of the Right to Information Act of 2005 defines the term record as record includes any document, manuscript and file, any microfilm, microfiche and facsimile copy of a document, any reproduction of image or images embodied in such microfilm, whether enlarged or not, and any other material produced by a computer or any other device. So the other definitions that have been provided under the RTI Act of 2005 includes competent authority, appropriate government, Central Information Commission, Chief Information Commissioner, Central Public Information Officer, etc. So the Right to Information Act of 2005 also provides for designation of public information officers. This act provides for a request for obtaining information. So this provision has been provided under section 6 of the Right to Information Act of 2005. It thus provides that a person who desires to obtain any information under this act shall make a request in writing or through electronic means in English or Hindi or in the official language of the area in which the application is being made, accompanied with fees as may be prescribed. So the next feature is that the Right to Information Act of 2005 provides for disposal of request, which has been provided under section 7 of the Right to Information Act of 2005. So it thus provides that the Central Public Information Officer or the State Information Public Officer, as the case may be, on receipt of request under section 6 shall be as expeditiously as possible, and in any case within 30 days of receipt of such request either provide the information on payment of fees as may be prescribed or reject the request for any reasons which have been specified under sections 8 and 9 of the Right to Information Act of 2005. So the next feature is the Act provides that where the information sought for concerns of life or liberty of a person, the same shall be provided within 48 hours of the receipt of the request. So further, under section 8 of the Right to Information Act of 2005, it gives us exemptions from disclosure of information. So this section thus provides that there shall be no obligation to give any citizen information, disclosure of which would prejudicially affect the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security, strategic, scientific or economic interests of the state, relation with foreign state, or lead to incitement of an offence. Information which has been expressly forbidden to be published by any court of law or tribunal, or the disclosure of which may constitute contempt of court. Information, the disclosure of which would cause a breach of privilege of Parliament or the state legislature. Information including commercial confidence, trade secrets and intellectual property, the disclosure of which would harm the competitive position of a third party unless the competent authority is satisfied that larger public interest warrants the disclosure of such information. Information available to a person in his fiduciary relationship unless the competent authority is satisfied that the larger public interest warrants the disclosure of such information. Information received the confidence from foreign government. Information, the disclosure of which would endanger the life or physical safety of any person or identify the source of information or assistance given in confidence of law enforcement or security purposes. Information which would impede the process of investigation or apprehension or prosecution of offenders. Cabinet papers including records of deliberations of the Council of Ministers, Secretaries and other officers. The section further provides that provided that the decisions of Council of Ministers, the reasons thereof and the material on the basis of which the decisions were taken shall be made public after the decision has been taken and the matter is complete or over. So the Right to Information Act of 2005 further provides that those matters which come under the exemption that have been specified in the section which I have given previously, that is under section 8, shall not be disclosed. So the information which falls into the category which have been enumerated in section 8 of the Right to Information Act of 2005 shall not be disclosed to the public. Further, section 8(1)(j) of the Right to Information Act of 2005 thus reads as information which is related to personal information, the disclosure of which has no relationship to any public activity or interest, or which would cause unwarranted invasion of the privacy of the individual unless the Central Public Information Officer or the State Public Information Officer or the appellate authority, as the case may be, is satisfied that the larger public interest justifies the disclosure of such information. Thus, this section further provides that the information which cannot be denied to the Parliament or a state legislature shall not be denied to any person. Further, this Act provides for constitution of Central Information Commission to exercise the powers which have been conferred on and to perform the functions assigned to the Commission under the Act. Next feature is that this Act provides for the term of office and the conditions of service of Information Commissioner and other officials, and also for removal of Chief Information Commissioner or the Information Commissioner. Next feature is this Act also provides for constitution of State Information Commissioner, its term of office and conditions of service, as well as removal of officers. So, the Right to Information Act of 2005 provides for powers and functions of the Information Commissioners, appeals and penalties. This Act provides for appropriate government to prepare programs to educate people about how to exercise the rights contemplated under this Act. So, it is the duty of the appropriate government to conduct programs and campaigns which will help to educate the citizens or the public relating to the use or even inform them about what kind of rights or what kind of information is available to them about the government activities, and also which activities or which information is excluded from the purview of this Act, and that such information will not be available to the general public. The Act also provides for encouragement of public authorities in the development and organization of educational programs to advance the understanding of the people and to undertake such programs themselves. The next feature is this Act gives power to make rules by the appropriate government, who by notification in the official gazette make rules to carry out the provisions of this Act. And the last feature is the Right to Information Act of 2005 also gives power to remove difficulties. It thus provides that if any difficulty arises in giving effect to the proviso of this Act, the central government may, by order published in the official gazette, make such provisions not inconsistent with the provision of this Act as appear to it to be necessary or expedient for removal of the difficulty. Every order made under this section shall be, as soon as may be after it is made, be laid before each House of Parliament. So, I have given you almost 25 salient features of the Right to Information Act of 2005. So, now to put all these in a gist, or what we call as to conclude or to draw a conclusion, we may say that the Right to Information Act of 2005 is a complete guide which covers all the provisions which are related to the right to information, with the main objective of an informed citizenry and also transparency and accountability of the public authorities. Further, this Act also provides for exemptions. So, I have cited those exemptions which have been given under Section 8 of the Right to Information Act of 2005. What are these exemptions? These are which information is not eligible to be disclosed to the public, and also provides for authorities, their term of office, powers and their functions. The Act also provides for the role of central government for removal of any difficulty. So, this is what is the Right to Information Act of 2005 is all about. So it is a complete guide. It provides each for the authorities or everything that is related to the right to information, and it's enough satisfactory, and it gives a strong right to the public at large, which helps in building a strong democracy in the entire world. So that's all for today. I hope this information is useful for you. If you like my videos, do like them, share my videos, and yes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel Vakilaw, Know the Law. Till then, this is me Shivani signing off. Goodbye and take care.